Do you think there's any problem with the Luton pool offering men-only swimming sessions? The Olympic-sized swimming pool in Luton has been criticised for introducing segregated men-only swimming sessions. The team who run the pool, they say the sessions were designed to cater for men who will not swim with women for cultural reasons or are body conscious. However, posters for the event published by the agency The Strong Believer instruct swimmers that they must be covered from their navel to their knee. And the local man behind the idea, Ahmed, has welcomed the pool's decision on Facebook, telling followers, Alhamdulillah, swimming is back. Starts this Friday, inshallah, the Arabic word for God willing. Well, I want to hear from you this morning. Do you think there's any problem with the Luton pool offering men-only swimming sessions? On the big phone-in. Our big local story today, I'm asking, do you think there's any problem with the Luton pool offering men-only swimming sessions? The Olympic-sized swimming pool in Luton has been criticised for introducing segregated men-only swimming sessions. The team who run the pool say the sessions were designed to cater for men who will not swim with women for cultural reasons or are body conscious. Helen Barnett is the Chief Executive of Active Luton, the company that manages the pool.
There are different reasons for it. For some men it was a cultural reason, for some men it was a body image reason. There are all sorts of different reasons why people want to go to, sort of specific either gender sessions or, sessions for one particular population. So what we try and do is just listen to the needs of our community and do our best within our, sort of parameters to adapt our programme to meet those needs.
Whilst Helen Barnett denies the sessions were purely created for cultural reasons, posters for the event published by the agency The Strong Believer instruct swimmers that they must be covered from their navel to their knee. And the local man behind the idea, Ahmed, has welcomed the pool's decision on Facebook, telling followers, Alhamdulillah, swimming is back. We have the large 50-metre pool on a permanent basis. Starts this Friday, inshallah. That's the Arabic word for God willing. Well, some female swimmers have complained that during the 2-hour session every Friday, they'll be forced to swim elsewhere in a smaller community pool. And on Facebook, users have complained that it's wrong for one community's needs to be put above another. But considering this is only a couple of hours on a Friday, and the sessions will ensure the whole local community can enjoy the pool, are the critics blowing things out of all proportion? This morning I want your reaction to this story. Do you think there's any problem with the Luton pool offering men-only swimming sessions? Particularly keen to hear from you this morning if you use that swimming pool, or maybe are more likely to now use that swimming pool as a result of these men-only swimming sessions that are starting on a Friday evening. Frances lives in Luton. She uses this leisure centre on a regular basis. Hello, Frances.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning. What do you think about this idea then of offering men-only swimming sessions in the large Olympic pool?
Well, I listened to what Helen Barnett had to say about listen to the needs of our community, and that's complete nonsense. There was no consultation. There are these small notices I've seen, because I read about this in the Luton News yesterday, and in fact they're telling people who regularly use this wonderful pool to go to Lee Manor or Lucy Pools. And I think if you need a men-only session, then go to Lee Manor or Lucy Pools. Don't take over the best pool in the borough, which I use all of the time. I use the gym, I use the swimming pool. The swimming pool is absolutely fabulous. It's a proper Olympic-sized swimming pool. And the other thing that is so ridiculous about this is that the women get the smaller pool and they have to pay more for it.
But I'm just looking at the sign here that apparently is in the leisure centre.
Yes.
It's literally 1 hour every Friday evening from 8:30 until 9:30. 1 hour of the week. Is there not enough time throughout the rest of the week for anybody, any women who want to use the Olympic pool to use that Olympic pool?
Well, as far as I know, they don't have women-only sessions there. And also what it's meant is that the Friday night swimming club have had to change their time, and there is no leisure swim with lanes between 6 and 6:45, or the usual lane swim between 9 and 10. And the thing is, if people work really hard, which I know you do, on a Friday night, you might fancy a nice cooling off, relaxing swim, and now you can't do it.
Well, I'd be all right.
Why? Because you don't swim?
Well, no, I'd be all right because I'm a man.
Oh, God, yes, of course, sorry.
So I'd be able to go.
Well, as long as you were properly covered up from navel to knee.
What is your real issue, though? Is your real issue that for 1 hour of the week, you as a woman would not be able to use that Olympic-sized pool?
Yes.
Or is your real problem that you resent the fact that probably for cultural reasons, this swimming pool are saying to the Muslim community in Luton, if you want segregated swimming sessions for 1 hour of the week, we'll give that to you?
No, it's because they've given over the best pool in the borough that is just round the corner to me, and they're suggesting that if I want to swim on Friday evening, I should go to Lee Manor or Lucy. And I think that if people want to take over that pool, they should go to Lee Manor or Lucy and leave the regular sessions as they are. I mean, this is an amazing pool. It was funded by taxpayers. It's now funded by council taxpayers and members like me, and I feel that this is completely wrong. It wasn't done with any consultation, and I think they're coming up with this all sort of blah, blah, blah kind of answers, and I think they should do the decent thing and reverse the decision. I mean, friends of mine sent me stuff from the Daily Mail and the Daily Mirror, and I had no idea. I honestly had no idea that it was all over Facebook, and it was for one particular culture. And I have nothing against one particular culture if that's what they need to do. I just object to the fact that it's in the best pool in the borough, and whoever made that decision should have realised that would have been a problem.
But realistically, I mean, on a Friday night from 8:30 until 9:30,
yeah.
How many people realistically on a Friday night at that time think to themselves, oh, I'd quite like a dip in the swimming pool, in the Olympic-sized swimming. I want to do some lengths. I mean, aren't most people sitting at home having a Chinese takeaway or going out to the pub with friends?
Well, I think most people aren't like you with a bottle of Pinot, Jonathan. It's quite normal, I promise you, for people to want to be active on a Friday night.
Really? Well, this is a whole new world to me.
Well, and also it's. I mean, I go to the gym a lot and I swim a lot because that's how I relax. There are a lot of really fit and healthy people out there who use the gym and that wonderful pool a lot on a daily basis. And also, I would question, why do the women get the lesser pool? Why can't they have the competition pool?
Well,
and
maybe,
why can't the men
but maybe
have
there's
the community pool?
Maybe there's a whole load of men that have all been saying to this swimming pool, look, we really want to come along, we really want to swim, but for whatever reason, whether it's cultural reasons or body image reasons, we don't feel that we want to do it when it is a mixed sex swimming session. But we would like to all turn up en masse on a Friday night and utilise that pool. And maybe the leisure centre have looked at the sheer numbers of people that are contacting them or are showing an interest and thinking, well, we're going to have to give them the big pool because there's going to be a lot of guys here who, for whatever reason, want to come along and have this swimming session.
Well, that might have been why they made that decision. It was the wrong decision because they could have said, you're more than welcome to use Lee Manor or Lucy, but we can't let you have the best pool in the borough. Because even if 5 people use that pool on a Friday night, they've probably been doing that for years. It's completely wrong. Somebody has made a wrong decision for the best reasons, and now they need to reverse it.
What about if it had been? What if it had been the other way round? What if it was that this swimming pool had decided that a Friday night between 8:30 and 9:30 at night would become ladies' night? For female swimmers to use the swimming pool because a lot of women don't want to go and swim when there are men swimming in the swimming pool at the same time. Would you have the same issue?
No.
Oh. So for women it would be all right?
Well, I think women have had body issues and discrimination for so many years, that in fact, if they'd given the women the bigger pool on a Friday night, I would probably go and join them.
Well, hang on a minute then. Isn't this just your frustration that you can't use the pool for that 1 hour of the week But maybe there are many men who, for whatever reason, will use that pool. They will go along. Maybe that swimming pool on a Friday night between 8:30 and 9:30 will be absolutely packed. And shouldn't you, as a local taxpayer and a member of this leisure centre, shouldn't you rejoice at that it's being used?
No, you're very clever, Jonathan. You're completely twisting my words. You know exactly what I'm saying. This is a wrong decision. It sends out the wrong message, and the fact that they are saying use the lesser pools because we're giving the best pool over to mostly one. I mean, I was shocked when I read in the Daily Mirror online that this was very much one culture in Luton. And the great thing about Luton is that it's multicultural. And I think anything that promotes multiculturalism and diversity is good. This doesn't promote multiculturalism and diversity.
But it's just 1 hour of the week.
Yeah, but it's the principle.
Right. Well,
okay, it's just 1 hour of the week and then it's 2 hours of the week. Yes, I think you have a point. It is just 1 hour of the week. But I think that obviously the decision has been made, and as Helen Barnett said, she listened to the needs of her community. No, she didn't, because I wasn't consulted. I'm a member. Why not consult all of the members who use the pool and see what they think?
But you see, it may well be that there are lots of men, and let's not tiptoe around this. I know there's always a desire to kind of tiptoe around the issue and to skirt around what people are actually thinking. Let's say you've got a whole load of Muslim men who live in Luton, who work in Luton, who pay their council tax, who pay their membership maybe of this leisure centre in exactly the same way as you. Maybe they have gone to the management and maybe they have said to the management, look, we'd really like to use the swimming pool, but for whatever reason, we feel uncomfortable using the swimming pool when it is a kind of normal mixed sex session. There are enough of us, I feel, to be able to warrant saying to you, could you allow us to just have an hour of the swimming pool as a male-only session? We will obviously pay to use that swimming pool, and you'll then be just giving us a little token out of the whole week of swimming, a little token for us. What's wrong with that?
I can't think of anything that's wrong with that, but I don't think they should be using that particular venue.
Why?
Because it's the best venue in the borough, and I don't think other members should be sent to Lee Manor or Lucy Pools, because just as you said, one section of the Luton community want to use that pool.
Francis, I'm going to see what other people think listening to the programme. Thank you very much indeed.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Jonathan.
Can you understand what Francis is saying? Can you understand her concerns? Or do you think this is just a typical Daily Mail mountain out of a molehill? That maybe you are of the belief that there are, let's face it, there are lots and lots of Muslims who live in Luton, who pay their council tax in Luton, who will also have been contributors to the creation of this swimming pool. And if those Muslim men, for whatever reason, would like to have just 1 hour of the week dedicated to a man-only swimming session, maybe you feel that there's nothing wrong with that. Ed has called to have his say. Morning to you, Ed.
Good morning, JVS.
What do you think?
Well, I'd like to ask the question, is this weak country and weak local authorities cowering against the Muslims? If it was an English session for an hour a week, would it have been granted?
Well, hang on a minute. I mean, you need to just, I think, change your phrasing a little bit if you're going to make the argument. There are lots of Muslims that are English. So do you mean what if for example atheists decided they wanted to have an hour dedicated?
Or Jewish or Christian?
Well, I'm quite sure, and you would like to think that any management of a leisure centre in a town where the town is very multicultural, where the town has people of different faiths, you would like to think that leisure centre management, if a leader or a member of a certain group in the community came to you and said, look, We've identified a need amongst our community. We are council taxpayers as well. We're not asking for you to turn the whole swimming pool over to Muslim men 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But we would just quite like, and it would mean that many more of us could use your facilities. We would just like 1 hour of the week. Is there really anything wrong with that?
Well, I'd like to ask the other question. Why do they need an hour a week on their own? Is it because they don't like swimming with women? Is it because they you know, in their eyes, women are much lower than them, so they can't be seen in the pool with them? What is it? That's what I'd like to know.
Well, I don't know the answer. Maybe if there are any Muslim men listening to the programme this morning and they can shed some light on that, that'd be very helpful. But does it really matter? I mean, if for whatever reason, I mean, for example, you get women-only gyms. You get, sometimes I would imagine there are women-only swimming sessions because women may feel that they don't want to be swimming in the same pool as men. Would we necessarily consider that to be unusual or an outrageous thing?
Well, no, I mean, they have kids-only swimming sessions in pools, don't they? The schools go there at certain times and stuff like that.
I can absolutely understand that there may well be some credibility to your argument. If you were talking about a part of the UK where there was very, very, very small Muslim community, a tiny number of Muslim people living there, for the local leisure centre to then dedicate an hour of the week to Muslim men to swim without women being there may well be an outrageous thing. But you've got to remember, Luton has a lot of Muslim people living there, a lot of Muslim people who also pay their council tax, who also contribute to their local area. And if they are, for whatever reason, asking a local facility, a local venue, to put something on for them, is that really so outrageous?
Well, you've also got to remember, JVS, is the track record they've got for treating their women.
Well, but what? I don't understand your point.
So is it? What I'm trying to say is, can you find out from some of your listeners? Is it a point that they daren't be seen with women in the pool? They can't be seen with, because women are below them.
Maybe they feel very uncomfortable. I mean, for example, on Andy's programme this morning, I know a man phoned in. I don't believe he was a Muslim man. He just said that for body confidence issues, he would feel much more comfortable swimming in a swimming pool if it was a man-only session.
Well, body issues, then I suggest he goes on a diet then, by the sound of things.
All right, Ed, thank you very much. I mean, I wonder whether people are grasping at straws a little bit in suggesting that this is really outrageous. Rahid Salam is the director of All Faiths and None, an interfaith and belief charity. He also happens to live in Luton. Good morning to you, Rahid.
Good morning.
Good morning. What do you make of this decision then for this Olympic-sized swimming pool in Luton for 1 hour of the week to be dedicated to just Muslim men? Well, not actually just Muslim men, men full stop.
Well, clearly Inspire have, and the local population, they've identified a need for local men. And it looks like they've gone into consultation, they've had a conversation about it, and they've agreed that this is something that is of benefit to the local population. My understanding is that this was a facility that was available previously as well. I'm not sure about why those sessions stopped before. It might have been a supply and demand thing. I'm not too sure. But it looks like they've had a conversation. They've had a sensible conversation. A significant number of men have said that this is something that they want. Inspire have said, yep, this is something they can deliver on. They found them a slot and they've gone into agreement.
But is it acceptable for a swimming pool in and I mean, look, I don't want to tiptoe around this. I want to talk about the reality of it. The chances are
Sure.
this is probably about Muslim men, isn't it? Let's be realistic about it. It's been organised by an agency called The Strong Believer. On Facebook,
Sure.
a guy called Abdul Ahmed, he's the guy that has put a message out there to all of his followers. Alhamdulillah, swimming is back, starts this Friday, inshallah. It's a Muslim thing, isn't it? It's about Muslim men feeling more comfortable to go swimming. But is it acceptable in a non-Islamic country that a group of Muslims can, in effect, close down a swimming pool to other members of the community for 1 hour, albeit for 1 hour?
Well, that's not incorrect. That's not factually correct what you've just said, because the swimming pool isn't closed for anybody else. It's a male session. So
it's closed for any women.
Right. Okay. And there are women-only sessions. There are women-only sessions at Inspire as well. I understand.
Is it acceptable, though, to segregate the sexes in this way?
Well, I don't think this is an issue of segregating the sexes wholesale. This is a very specific issue where there will have been a consultation with a group of men, or whether they're and I know you've cited this gentleman himself. I don't know him, but clearly there is a cultural issue. There is a body image issue, both for men and women, which is why some women choose to go to a specific session which is for women only. I believe that's on a Monday and a Tuesday, and a group of men and Inspire have agreed and decided that they're going to have a 1 hour slot on a Friday evening. And I think that what they're doing is they're catering to the needs of the local community. If there wasn't this,
well, is it catering to the local community, or is it pandering to different cultural groups?
Well, I think in the society that we live in, we need to respect and tolerate people of different faiths, different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different abilities, ages and gender. And it seems to me that on this occasion, this is what they have agreed. And what I would say is that as a local service provider, I would imagine that the swimming pool will be looking very carefully at the uptake and usage of this, and I'm pretty sure that they would probably review this on an ongoing basis. For example, if men didn't use this facility, then they probably couldn't justify it in the long term, as probably happened in the past. Because as I said, this facility was available in the past, and then it stopped. It's now restarted. So I can imagine that this is probably going to be something that they'll look at. And if this time slot is used, then I think that will be the proof of the pudding. If it isn't used, then again, I can imagine that that Inspire would probably review that.
Can I ask, are you a Muslim?
I am.
Are you able to answer Ed's question? Ed, who was on just before you, when he wanted to know what it would be about the Muslim faith that maybe would make some men want to have a male-only swimming session.
Well, everybody's faith is personal to them, and people make their own individual decisions, and we're not at liberty to have, in my opinion, we're not at liberty to have broad brush statements, which means everybody has to do the same thing. But I think this is about personal choice. If there are some men who may be of the Muslim faith or not, they have the opportunity to use this if this is what they feel comfortable.
But why is it? But let's not tiptoe around this. This idea was created by a man called Abdul Ahmed. He has put on his Facebook page, Alhamdulillah, swimming is back, which I gather means praise be to God swimming.
Mm-hmm.
Starts this Friday, inshallah, the Arabic word for God willing. There must be something in the Muslim faith that some Muslim men feel requires them to swim on their own rather than with women. I'm just asking. Again, I'm interested to know what that would be.
What I'm saying, it comes down to personal choice. I am sure there are a number of Muslim men and women who may choose to use a mixed session, who may think that this is not for them. So once again, what I say is it comes down to personal choice.
So there's no requirement in Islam for men and women to swim separately.
There isn't anything in the Quran that talks about swimming specifically. No.
Right. So there's no religious reason for this.
Well, as I said, it comes down to personal choice, doesn't it? I mean, if some men feel that is their interpretation, then that is their interpretation. I think that's fine. But
maybe their interpretation is wrong. And in a country where men and women generally go swimming together, and it's absolutely acceptable and it's normal and has always been normal in this country, maybe maybe they're wrong to have requested it. Maybe it was wrong of the swimming pool to grant it.
I think we need to look at this in context. It's a 1 hour session late on a Friday evening. Inspire is open, Monday to Sunday, a lot. I'm not sure exactly what the opening hours are, but early in the morning to late in the evening. This is a dedicated 1 hour slot for men to use that. And it's not just Muslim men, it's any man. And I believe the poster also says with children as well. I'm not too sure. I haven't seen it, but I think that could be the case. So they can take their young children as well. So actually, there's lots of positives about this. First of all, it's been identified as a community need. That's the first thing. The second thing is we know that the health benefits of swimming are absolutely massive. The third benefit is that the people will be paying for this service, and they will be bringing money into Inspire, which is the third thing. The fourth thing is and I'm not sure about this, if men are going to be going with their children, then I think it's a great opportunity. It's a great bonding opportunity for men to actually go with their younger children and be able to swim. And I think that's a great thing. The final point I would like to mention is that
very briefly, if you would,
women do have women-only sessions. I know my wife goes to those sessions, and she says that they're about 50-50 in terms of Muslim and non-Muslim women, and it's used, and that seems to work out absolutely fine.
Okay, thank you very much. Rahid Salam is the director of All Faiths and None, an interfaith and belief charity. He also lives in Luton. Well, do you think there's any problem with the Luton pool offering men-only swimming sessions? Your reaction from what you've heard on today's Big Phone In. Very interesting local story in lots of the newspapers today. I'm asking, do you think there's any problem with the Luton pool offering men-only swimming sessions? The Olympic-sized swimming pool in Luton has been criticised for introducing segregated men-only swimming sessions. The team who run the pool, they say the sessions were designed to cater for men who will not swim with women for cultural reasons or for men who are body conscious. However, posters for the event, published by the agency The Strong Believer, instruct swimmers that they must be covered from their navel to their knee. And the local man behind the idea, Abdul Ahmed, has welcomed the pool's decision on Facebook, telling followers, "Alhamdulillah, swimming is back. We have the large 50-metre pool on a permanent basis. Starts this Friday, inshallah." The Arabic word for God willing. Well, my question to you, and we're not going to tiptoe around this issue on my programme, we're going to have a full and frank conversation. My question to you is, do you think there's any problem with the Luton pool offering men-only swimming sessions? The point here is integration. How many times do we have to say, this is Britain, not the Middle East? We have to put up with halal slaughter, now segregated swimming. What next? Christian churches turned into mosques? Do you think it's that straightforward? Or do you think actually it's unfair to turn this discussion into any kind of attack on Muslims? Because there have been women-only sessions in swimming pools and in gyms across the country for many, many years now. And nobody bats an eyelid. Matt is in Luton. Good morning to you, Matt.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Morning, Matt.
I'm absolutely fuming.
Why?
I can't believe I'm hearing this. Once again, it's the old play the race card of Muslims. I'm sorry, but it's stupid. Why should they have an hour on their own? Why? That last guy couldn't answer you the question. Was there a reason why they didn't swim with other people, or was it something to do with their religion? Or he couldn't answer it. He wouldn't answer it, Jonathan.
No, he said it was an individual belief
thing.
That's
a lot of old rubbish. And you didn't push him hard enough.
Well, there's only so hard you can push someone if they keep saying the same thing. So
yeah, I know, but I can't believe this. We're back to the old. What I'm going to do now next week, I'll go to my Catholic church and I'll say, right, I'm going to go to Luton Borough Council and I'm going to see if we can have swimming only for Catholics on a Saturday morning.
Matt, let's just look at this in a slightly different way. You are a senior citizen.
Yes.
I know this. You are a senior citizen. Yeah. Now, if you as a Luton council taxpayer and a Luton resident, if you went along with a whole load of other senior citizens and you went along to this Inspire sports centre, leisure centre, if you went along to them and said, look, I've been talking to a lot of people down at my club, a lot of senior citizens. We would love to come and swim here, but for whatever reason, we feel a bit body conscious, or, we don't want to feel, we want to feel as if we're just with other senior citizens. So is there any chance, at some point during the whole week, is there any chance you could put on an OAP session in the pool? Because I can guarantee you I'd get lots and lots of people, lots of Luton pensioners who'd all love to come down and use your swimming pool. Now, if that was being proposed, nobody would bat an eyelid. And yet surely it's just as discriminatory towards any other section of society who then, for that hour, while you're having OAP swimming, wouldn't be able to use the pool, but it would be considered a totally understandable and reasonable thing to suggest.
Yes.
Why is it any different for some men who happen to be Muslim to go along to this swimming pool? And
You've just said it. You've just said it. Who happen to be Muslim?
Yes, but if they just happen to be Muslim and they go along to the swimming pool and they say, look, for whatever reason, we as a group of men, we don't really want to swim at the same time as women are swimming, for whatever reason that may be, then would you not be prepared to give us an hour out of the whole week for us just to have that swimming pool? Is it any more unreasonable than the hour-long OAP session?
But you're making up the old pensioners.
Well, I don't know. I don't know, actually. Maybe they have got an OAP.
I think we'll do that. I shall see if I can do that then. You're making it up now, but this is reality. We are talking about this instant, this very minute, what's happening. We're allowing different parts of our culture again to take charge.
But you have to accept, Matt, that Luton is a very multicultural place. There are lots of Muslims who live in Luton, who, like you, pay their council tax, who, like you, contribute to their local community. Surely they are entitled to a voice as well.
Jonathan, I think they're already well entitled to a voice, and they've already got a voice. Really, Luton Town is really respectful to the Muslim population. On my close, Jonathan, the majority of our people now are all Muslim people. I know them all. And yet they're really nice people. And I can't believe it. It's happening again, Jonathan. The little bits, they're clawing away at the little bits. And then it gets worse, and then it goes on to
So do you
else.
agree with Francis, then, who I spoke to at the beginning of this discussion, who kind of made the point, well, OK, it's only 1 hour now, but how long before 1 hour turns into 2 hours, and how long before it starts to become, an entire day that becomes man-only day?
Exactly that, Jonathan. It's 1 hour, then it'll become a day, it could become 2 days, and they seem to get the edge over the rest of us. I'm sorry about this, but
is your concern about this then? Is it largely down to fear? I mean, let me give you another scenario.
Yes.
Let's say a young mum with her small child or baby went to the manager of this leisure centre and said, look, I and a whole load of my NCT friends, we'd all like to come down and we'd like to have on a Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, we would like to have Mums and Babies Day, and we would like to have the whole swimming pool just for us, mums and babies, because we feel it would be really nice for us just to have our own hour. Would you be worried about that? No, you wouldn't. You'd think that was absolutely fine.
No, I agree. If the ladies want so many hours, they should be allowed it, because it's a personal thing with the ladies. They're entitled to their privacy. We are not putting women in their place. We are not showing real respect for women. If they want the hour, women should have it. But I should no way see that men should have that respect, should have that. I don't care what religion they are.
OK, all right. Thank you, Matt. Philomena in Hemel says this is most certainly anti-women and pandering to misogynist Islam. Friday is the Muslim Sabbath. Therefore, contact with women is considered unclean, especially if a woman may be in menstruation, as this renders void their Islamic brownie points for their Friday prayers. This is very worrying and clearly misogynistic. I have lived in Muslim countries and I know how it works. Abdul is in Luton. Good morning to you, Abdul.
Good morning.
Good morning. Is that true, what Philomena was saying? Could that be a reason behind this decision to ask for a male-only swimming session?
What the reason about women being on menstruation and somehow its association with Fridays?
Yes.
Well, that proves my point. These are ignorant people who have no knowledge of Islam whatsoever. It has nothing to do with the woman being on menstruation or any affiliation with Friday. There's nothing related between Fridays and swimming or any sporting activity. And again, it's just indicative of the kind of fear and the ignorance out there with regards to Muslims and their faith. Let's just get one thing straight here. This is not a Muslim-only event. This was targeted at a Muslim audience. But if you, Jonathan, for instance, turned up on Friday, by the way, this is only for 1 hour. 1 hour out of 168 hours a week? I mean, if you turned up for that 1 hour and if you just adhere to the dress code, which is like a long pair of shorts, you'd be allowed in. But
hang on 1 second. Let's just explore that for 1 second. What if I want to go along and I want to swim in some Speedos?
Well, look, this is an event targeted at an audience who want to dress in a certain way or cover in a certain way.
No. Hang on, Abdul. I thought this was a male event. If I want to go wearing Speedos, why should I not be able to go and wear Speedos?
It doesn't matter how you break up the event. You can make it targeted at people who are disabled of a certain type of disability or men of a certain type of male or whatever it is. It's not about who exactly is targeted at. It's just a community of a very large group, a town. It was
requested by a Muslim man. The target audience, it would appear, are Muslim men based on who this Facebook group are targeting.
But you would be allowed in.
Thank you very much. I should think so too. If it's a male event, then of course I should be allowed in. But the fact that there's now a dress code.
Even if it was a male event for, I don't know, I'm just talking hypothetically, but for males of a certain height or whatever, or a certain type of disability, all it does is it just makes it more and more targeted. Whether it's a very small niche group of people or it makes no difference. The point is targeted a community where there is clearly a demand for a service such as that. It could be a private event or a public event. Either way, it's targeted at a community where there is a need for such an event.
Yes, but the Muslim men who requested it, they have really determined the target audience, haven't they?
Well, they themselves are the target audience. They're a community. They pay taxes as much as anyone else.
Hang on, Abdul. So if we're just being absolutely frank about it, then this is an event for Muslim men in Luton.
No. Yes. It was requested by Muslim men, but if you turned up, you would be allowed in. Let's not get
only if I wear the clothing that the Muslim men who organised have requested that I wear.
If you wear long shorts, how difficult is that? It's like as if me turning up to a nudist event.
But what if I don't want to wear long shorts?
Well, what if a person turns up to a nudist event and doesn't want to be nude?
But hang on 1 second. Who has determined the dress code?
Whoever organised the event, they determined the dress code.
Right. So the dress code has been determined by Muslim men.
No, by the organisers of that specific event. It could be a nudist event. It could be a Christian event. It could be a non-religious event whatsoever.
There is no requirement in a swimming pool throughout the whole course of the week. There is no requirement for men to have to wear clothes that cover from their navel all the way down to their knees. If you want to go and swim and you want to go and swim wearing a pair of Speedos, it would be considered a totally normal thing to do in a swimming pool any other time of the week.
And likewise, a nudist event would be considered to be an abnormal thing.
You don't have nudist events in public swimming pools.
Yes,
it does matter.
If you privately hired it, you would. My point is that even if private event, people would have a problem with this. A few years ago, John Biggs, I believe, an MP from London, had a problem with Muslims hiring out their own wedding ceremonies in a segregated fashion. So this is not people can't.
We're not talking about that. We are talking.
This is about a wider issue that people have with Muslims in their own lives, in their own way. Because they have a problem with private events.
You can keep talking over me, but no, we are talking about.
Yes. It's yes, because we know what it is. We know.
No, it's right. I'm going to fade you down until I've made my point. It is not fair to bring in that comparison. The fact is, we are talking about a public place. This is a public swimming pool, a swimming pool that is there for everybody who lives in Luton, which is what makes it different. Now, please make your point.
The only thing that makes this different is because the media outlets, very few of them, have made this a story because Muslims are involved. If it was women's only event or OAPs, as you have quite rightly compared earlier on, it would not be a story. However, of course, unless it was a Muslim women's only event, then it would be a story. If it was a Muslim OAP event, it would be a story. But if it was any other community doing a women's event or an OAP event or a men's only event, it would become a non-story.
Can I ask a question?
Muslims are involved.
Can I ask a question?
And one last thing before I say, on a Friday night, I would be more than happy to see Muslim men spending 1 hour doing something which is healthy, doing something which is in conjunction with their beliefs, than spending their time doing anything else on a Friday night, which is usually comprised of clubbing or something else that maybe doesn't coincide with their beliefs.
But Muslim men,
embracing this.
Muslim men,
supporting this.
Muslim men could have gone along to swim at that swimming pool on a Friday night anyway.
The point is, they want to do something which is in conjunction with their beliefs, and it's perfectly fine.
Well, hang on a minute. What are these beliefs then? Because I was told earlier, right, I'm fading you down again. What are these beliefs then that require the men to have a man-only swimming session? Because I was told earlier they don't exist.
If you wanted to turn up, you'd be allowed in. So this is not a segregation between faiths. Let's get that straight. It's simply because a community of people, and they could be, you could be a part of the community who maybe don't want to expose themselves because of whatever insecurity or beliefs or whatever it is to women or whoever else.
What are the beliefs?
It doesn't matter.
What are the beliefs?
Sorry?
What are the beliefs? Just explain to me where the kind of logic or the thinking behind this is.
Well, it could be that for example, men and women don't expose their flesh between themselves unless they're husband or wife, for instance, things like that. I mean, it's about nudity, it's about coverage. It's not really much more than that. I mean, if you're a restaurant, for example, if I walked into a restaurant, I don't know, with my wife, there would be no problem because it's a public setting, we're all covered, we're just eating, it's fine. But in a place like a swimming pool where there's clearly flesh showing and women might not find that comfortable or men might not find that comfortable. If they want to segregate and and it's only 1 hour a week, and we become that intolerant as a society that we can't spare 1 hour.
Would gay men be welcome?
Yes, if they like I said, it's a coverage. It's a coverage. As long as you cover, you would be welcome as well. It's not a.
You've just confirmed though that this is about Islam. I mean, let's not brush over that. You have just confirmed this is about Islam.
The story is about Islam, but the situation in principle is not about Muslims. Because you could have segregation between any genders.
It is about Islam.
No, hold on.
It is. Because there may be other sections of the media that will kind of brush over it and start talking about body issues, but this is about Islam, isn't it? This is about a group of Muslim men requesting this with a Muslim dress code.
Yeah, and it's become a story because it's Muslim-related. You tell me this now, and honestly answer. If this was a non-Muslim OAP event or a non-Muslim women's event, right, would it be an issue? No, it would not be. It would never be an issue because we've had those events and no one has batted an eyelid. That's the litmus test.
Do you believe, then, that people that have been contacting my programme this morning who have said that they are concerned that this is all part of an increasing sense of Islamification of Luton?
They said the same thing 30 years ago when the first Muslim man moved into their street. And they said, well, it's just 1 today, it'll be 10 tomorrow, and it'll be 30 the year after. And you know what made that reality? Is when native people, i.e. the English people, started to move out of those streets. But the Muslims did not come along and just start taking over houses. They took over empty houses where people were moving out of. They didn't want us to live next to Muslim people, which is why they moved out of that street. We didn't come and suddenly say, oh, by the way, get out of the house. And we're not pushing people out of their swimming pools either. We're taking 1 hour a week. And if the Luton swimming pool in question offers...
So you accept then that you just said we are taking 1 hour a week, so you accept this is a Muslim thing. This is a Muslim male hour of swimming.
No. This is in response to those who say that we're taking over. I said it in that context. We're not taking over a swimming pool here, and no one is. We've requested.
But do you accept that hour, that requested hour, it's a Muslim male hour.
No, because if you were a Muslim man, you would not be allowed in, but you are allowed in. So therefore, it's not a Muslim male event. It's inspired by Muslims who wish to have an event that caters to their values. Just like you're able to eat halal chicken, for instance, it's not excluded from you. You can go into a halal restaurant and eat food. It's targeted at a Muslim audience. You are allowed in, aren't you? And likewise, a Muslim pool for 1 hour a week is targeted at a Muslim a Muslim audience, but you are also allowed in.
But you wouldn't let Tom Daly in.
Why not? Who said? Or you tell me where.
Because if Tom Daly wore what he always wears when he does his diving, which is skimpy little Speedos, he wouldn't be allowed in.
You wouldn't be allowed into a Muslim restaurant if you walked in wearing a bikini. My point is that it's about a dress code in a certain event. Restaurants have dress codes as well. So let's not pretend that this is something new. Restaurants have dress codes because it's targeted at a certain audience and they wish to adhere to certain ways. This is not Islamification. This is just a diversity within a community. People have different tastes and values. You walk into a Jewish-only event, you'll have the same thing. A very strongly Catholic event, you'll have the same thing. This is only a story because it's Muslim-related, and this is where the bigotry has to stop. Because if we want Muslims to integrate, it's a two-way process. You have to make everyone feel welcome. We did not exclude...
No other faith, as far as I'm aware, has ever asked for an hour of segregated swimming. I mean, that's the story. That's why this is a discussion. I'm not aware, and I'm sure somebody will tell me if I'm wrong, I'm not aware of any other faith in this country saying we would like to request an hour of the public swimming pool to be put aside.
You're telling me that no one else has requested a women's only event?
I said no other religious group.
Actually, what difference does it make if it is because of a religious group? The fact is people do it anyway. The fact that people do it because of a Catholic religion or because of Jewish beliefs is irrelevant to the fact that they do actually still do it. You still do get women's only event. You still do get men's only event. This has only become a problem because certain media outlets have made Muslims such a scapegoat for almost everything that it's okay to blame us when it comes to our faith-related issues.
So what about if another group of people organised a swimming hour at this Luton swimming session, and they said that this Luton's swimming session, people have to come along and they have to wear Speedos. You're not allowed to wear anything other than Speedos.
I think it's fine. Again, it's okay. No one. This is the diversity and the kind of and the liberal society that we always talk about, and we should allow for that. People have different tastes, different dislikes and likes. It's okay. I mean, the fact that someone wearing a Speedo or wearing a long short isn't going to do anything to me or anyone else. It's okay. We can handle that. Everyone can handle that. We're all perfectly mature and responsible.
But what is interesting is there has been a desire, particularly a desire from the management of this leisure centre, to distance this from being about cultural reasons specifically, about religious reasons. But this is about a Muslim audience requesting a special session for Muslim men. And you keep saying it's not, but then you make it quite clear it is.
No, I said to you that it just so happens that a group of Muslims, possibly wanted to, have an event that caters to their needs, but it's not exclusive to them. Okay, the fact that it's not exclusive to them means it's open to everyone, obviously of the same gender, and as long as they adhere to a dress code, which is the same thing by analogy. Maybe 30, 40 years ago, when the first government license came along to legitimize halal slaughter, there was probably a group of people who said, "Oh well, they're taking over. Oh my God, they're going to open up restaurants and they're going to do things their way." Well, 30, 40 years later, what's the issue? People are eating things of different tastes and different likes. Who cares? This is it is the fear and the insecurity and, quite frankly, the ignorance of many, many people. Okay. Those who understand and work with Muslims, work with me especially, I know for a fact that my non-Muslim colleagues and everyone else and my friends have no problem with the kind of food I bring in and I share with them and the way that I live my life.
Abdul, I hope you feel as if you've had a fair chance to be able to say what you wanted to say. Thank you very much indeed for your call. Do you think there's any problem with the Luton pool offering men-only swimming sessions? Lots of your calls coming through still. We will take more of them. Well, good morning. If you've just tuned in, it's the JVS show, a feisty JVS show. Coming up at 11 today, I'll be dealing with your consumer problems. Plus, as masked machine gun wielding police were paraded on the streets of London yesterday, I'll ask if you think it was a good show of strength or unnecessarily provocative to potential terrorists. And the health watchdog NICE, they say overweight patients should be given £100 an hour therapy and gastric bands and bypasses costing anything from £5,000 to £10,000. Well, very shortly I'll ask, how do you think the NHS should help people who are overweight? I'll take your calls, your views, your experiences on that. First, though, our top local story, and an interesting one it is too. The Olympic-sized swimming pool in Luton has been criticised for introducing segregated men-only swimming sessions. The team who run the pool, they say the sessions were designed to cater for men who will not swim with women for cultural reasons or are body conscious. However, posters for the event, published by the agency The Strong Believer, instruct swimmers that they must be covered from their navel to their knee. And the local man behind the idea, Abdul Ahmed, has welcomed the pool's decision on Facebook, telling followers, Alhamdulillah, swimming is back, starts this Friday, inshallah, the Arabic word for God willing. Well, I'm asking you this morning, do you think there's any problem with the Luton pool offering men-only swimming sessions? You seem very divided. I think in the last hour of the programme, we've we have managed to get enough evidence to support the fact that this is largely about Muslim men in Luton. This is supposed to be, deep down, an hour a week of the swimming pool dedicated to mainly Muslim men, although men who are not Muslim can go along as long as they comply with the dress code that has been specified by the Muslim organisers of this event. It's largely a Muslim event, but does that matter? Because maybe you're thinking, well, so what? I mean, it really doesn't matter at all. There are lots and lots of Muslim people that happen to live in Luton. They also pay their council tax. They also contribute to the local area. If Muslim men, for whatever reason, they feel that they need an hour a week to be able to use that swimming pool without women there, so what? Plenty of other time for women to swim. Doesn't matter. This anonymous texter says, that last caller, Abdul, this was Abdul from Luton who I spoke to before the news, he's just shot himself in the foot. It is a Muslim event, as you have to adhere to their respective dress code in the swimming pool. It beggars belief, says Anonymous. Thank you. Matthew in Harpenden. Hello, Matthew.
Hi there, how are you?
Yes, I'm well, thank you. What would you like to say, Matthew?
Well, basically, I called up initially when I was listening to the woman at roughly about 9 o'clock this morning, when she was talking about her views on the swimming, men-only swimming. I was disagreeing with what she was saying, but since hearing what this gentleman you were speaking to the last half an hour, it's obviously clear, like you've proven, that it's targeted towards a certain community, and I feel that's wrong.
Why is that wrong?
Because like we're meant to be a diverse country, and I think the idea of men-only swimming sessions for an hour is a good idea. It's been working for women for I can only assume a long time. And also you're talking about OAP swimming sessions. They have that up in Spalding where my grandma lives, and that works for them.
So if that's the case, then surely there is absolutely no difference between a group of OAPs wanting to hire the swimming pool and to have the swimming pool just for an hour dedicated to them, and a group of Muslim men saying we would like to have the swimming pool. As long as they're both members of the local community, as long as they both contribute to the local community, as long as they're both, as groups, prepared to pay to use the swimming pool, then why has anybody got the right to complain about that?
Because when you have an OAP swimming, they don't have a dress code. They don't have any formalities that you have to follow. Where this system that the Luton swimming pool is trying to impose, they have a certain community of they're trying to say it's not, but they're just trying to mask it up. And the only way that they can make it happen is by giving a uniform that you have to be dressed from knee to navel. So it's not fair, because if men only don't, there's not many pools around in Hertfordshire, Luton that have men only sessions, and for it to be jeopardised because of a certain group of people want you to follow their tradition, that's not fair. It's like having an OAP swimming session and saying you've got to wear a certain costume. It's not fair. It's for everyone, this swimming pool, and it's not fair that they can impose their dress code onto thousands of other people that could potentially use that pool.
But if this is largely an event organised by Muslim men for mainly Muslim men, although men can still go and use the swimming pool as long as they comply with the dress code.
Yeah.
Then, if it's only for an hour a week in a diverse town such as Luton, does it really matter? I mean, people are getting very het up. Does it really matter?
Yes. It doesn't matter as much as it's blown up into, but it does matter. It's all the little things that add up that, the final straw breaks the camel's back. And it's so many things. You don't have it's like kind of saying, oh, it's a Caucasian-only swimming event or a Afro-American sort of swimming event. You don't have those sort of events. You can't segregate. You can't turn people away because of how they feel they want to dress. If people, like you said earlier, want to wear Speedos, which is it's a
totally normal attire in a swimming pool. It's Speedos. Yeah. I mean, I don't personally like Speedos. However, they are, I understand, if you take your swimming seriously, if you want to swim as fast as you can, they are the most streamlined clothing to wear in a swimming pool. Actually, big baggy shorts slow you down.
Yeah, the baggy shorts is I agree with that. But it's just the point that they're using a very expensive, like a swimming pool as big, as large as it is, for one community to swim amongst themselves. I think if someone wanted to turn up and they're a serious swimmer, they're a regular user of that pool, or even just coming from Harpenden, because Harpenden have only got one swimming pool. They have a ladies' night I believe it's a Wednesday, but no one complains about that. That's totally fine. It's just the fact that now they're trying to say, they tried to mask it saying it's a man's-only event, when it's not. That's the issue that I think that everyone will have listening to this show.
That was very obvious, and it was just a matter of time before we actually got enough evidence on the programme. It was very obvious to me. Matthew, thank you very much. Alina in Luton has called to have her say. Hello, Alina.
Hi, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. What are your thoughts on this, then?
I think I can address the dress code issue. I'm a Muslim, although I'm not a very good one. And I know that two key characteristics are humility and modesty. And I believe the dress code is a modesty issue, and therefore it does help people who may be body conscious, whether they're Muslim or not.
But that's fine. And if the group, if they were saying, look, this is a male-only event for Muslim men attending. The dress code is shorts from your navel down to your knees, then fine. But I was just told earlier that if I went along on this Friday event as a non-Muslim, I would be welcome in, but only if I wear the specified dress code. And the specified dress code is not necessarily the most suitable dress code for a swimming pool. I mean, if you go to France, for example, in France, you are banned from wearing anything but Speedos in a swimming pool because they consider shorts to be more dirty and are going to put more dirt into the water.
Well, that's interesting. No, I mean, I do agree with you in that I think some people are being very silly in claiming that it's not targeted at Muslims. This is a Muslim-targeted event, quite clearly. And if it's not, then it's been marketed very poorly so that people think it is. However, if they are inviting in other people who are body conscious, for example, then I think the modesty issue still stands. If people don't want to be seeing, if some men don't want to see other men's junk, then I think they'd also prefer.
Well, then don't look.
Well, some don't, but some may. Especially if you're body conscious about yourself, you may find yourself looking at someone else and thinking, I feel uncomfortable now.
Do you think that there is something intrinsically offensive about this desire to have an hour of a public swimming pool dedicated to ultimately a religious group?
I think that it's poor that it's been done at a very peak time on a Friday evening. I think I sort of agree with was it Francis or Frankie earlier on? Frances, she mentioned as well that a Friday evening, after a long week of work, she might like to chill out at the pool, and I'm very much the same.
I very much doubt it would be peak, though. I mean, it's been many years since I've gone to the gym, but back in the day when I did go to the gym, I remember I went once on a Friday evening, and it was absolutely empty.
Well, I do go weekly, and it is a lot busier perhaps than when you last went. It is a peak time that they have picked, which I think is poor. If women have been given a midweek slot, then men should be as well.
Thank you, Alina, very much for your call. Do you think there's any problem with the Luton pool offering men-only swimming sessions? Lisa in Milton Keynes. Hello, Lisa.
Hiya.
Hello. What do you think,
Hello,
Lisa?
can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Sorry. I totally understand regarding modesty for costumes. As a female, someone that gains weight, loses weight, I will go swimming wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and then I'll go swimming wearing a bikini. It really depends on how my body, how I feel about my body at that time. What I think people are concerned about is the fact that this is an hour's swimming for exercise, and religion and culture takes full frontal regarding what this is all about. We should be seeing this as more of a positive thing for people to get off their bums, go swimming for an hour. But again, religion, culture comes into this, that you have to wear a certain dress code to be allowed in. And I think this is why, we live in a westernised state, freedom of speech. We do not live in the United Kingdom to be told what we can and can't wear when we go swimming. So I think it should be down to the individual. I'm really happy that men now have an hour to go swimming, but we should not be dictated to or discriminated against on what we should or shouldn't wear. That is why people are getting angry, and that's why I'm certainly angry. For all females that are doing, female sessions or child sessions, we're not dictated to on what we can wear. If we're swimming with children, we can wear shorts, t-shirts, bikini, anything we like. Culture, religion, modesty, we're all intelligent individuals. We all know what we should and shouldn't be wearing. I don't need to be told or dictated to by anybody.
But I guess realistically, if you are a Muslim man and if you have been raised to believe that modesty is very important, and if you turn up, and I'm not Muslim.
Yeah,
but if you turn, hang on, let me make the point. You turn up to a swimming session that is largely organised by fellow Muslims for fellow Muslims, albeit the event is still open to non-Muslims as well.
Of course.
If somebody turns up with a skimpy pair of Speedos, with to be honest, everything very visibly on show, the meat and two veg, then to be honest, they may well find that very offensive, and it may make them feel awkward.
I find that offensive, but I would not turn around to someone and tell them what to wear, because that's not what we do. I don't find it offensive. I think, do you know what? I raise my head to these people that can wear Speedos, because if my partner wears, it depends on the individual and what they want to wear. I will not be dictated to by anybody or told. I'm not a modest individual because I would like to wear bikini bottoms and a t-shirt, or maybe a full bikini, or maybe it does not make me, any different whether I wear shorts and t-shirts to the swimming pool, whether I wear a bikini. I'm still the same person. I still have the same values. And what I'm really quite angry about, I'm really happy there's an hour of swimming for men, and it's a real shame that people, they're kind of dictating what people can wear. If they had put this rule into what people could wear, people would be really happy to say, look, have the swimming pool for an hour, men can go swimming, go and exercise, enjoy yourselves, relax. We totally get it. But when you're dictating to a westernised state on what we can and can't wear, that's what people get upset and angry about. Because
it'd be very interesting, actually, if I did turn up wearing Speedos. It would be very interesting to see what would happen. Who would be the one to tell me that I couldn't? Would it be the management of Inspire?
I don't think anyone would tell you. I think, if people did turn up in Speedos, because I don't think Muslims and non-Muslims are that rude, or, would it make a major difference? No, I just think people need to open their minds more. It's just something that you wear, whether it's Speedos, whether it's shorts, you're still that same person. You're still modest. You're still, caring and loving towards other people. It's just, just chill out regarding this religion and culture thing. You're going swimming. That's what it should be about, the exercise, not what you're wearing.
Lisa, thank you very much indeed. Helen in Welwyn. Hello, Helen.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Morning.
I thought your last caller put my point of view very articulately. I agree with what she said. I think religion should be kept out of taxpayers' swimming pools. Fair enough. If needs to be a male only. But it's the longer I've listened, the more I thought it's very obviously aimed at Muslims. And I think it's wrong to target a religion for a swimming pool, a public swimming pool to be open to. And this is a Western country. We do, and I think British values are really good in that we allow everyone freedom of thought, freedom to practice their religions, their faiths, their beliefs, whatever they want. They have that freedom in our country. If we went to a Muslim country, I don't think that they would be setting aside a session once a week for the Westerners to be able to wear their Speedos and their bikinis if they want to.
But maybe, but hang on one second. Maybe if there was an area of an Islamic country, for example, where lots of British people who were non-Muslim had moved to and were paying their local taxes and were contributing to that area and were valuable and considered valuable members of that society, if, for example, a British bloke went down to a public place and said, look, for all of the Brits, we understand this is not how you do things. We understand how this is not how typical in this country. But there's a whole load of us Brits. We are here. We are members of your community. We're paying lots and lots of money into the system. We'd just like an hour where we can just go and swim wearing Speedos. I don't know. Maybe they would be open to it.
I don't know. I really don't know. I know when I took my children, my daughters, when they were teenagers, to a Muslim country, and I ensured that when we went out to the towns, they had their shoulders covered, they wore long sleeves, and I made sure that they were respectful to the local community and the local beliefs. But here, I think we should be open to people wearing what they want. I think if men go along on that Friday night, we are talking about swimming. Lots of people do want to wear Speedos to swim. All my children belong to a swimming club, and they weren't allowed to wear shorts at the swimming club. We're swimming. We're talking about swimming. And if people want to wear Speedos, I think they should be able to wear Speedos.
Okay.
I don't think it should be Muslims exclusively. I think...
Well, it's not Muslims exclusively, and they've been very keen to point that out. Anybody who is non-Muslim is still welcome to go, but there is a dress code.
They're dictating the dress code. It's the Muslim community dictating the dress code.
It's the organisers of the event who happen to be Muslim.
That's right.
Thank you, Helen. Bridget in Bedford says, there is a huge difference between an OAP swim and this falsely advertised men-only swim. It's deceitful and inaccurate. Men only would not have a dress code. This would suggest that not all men are welcome. Only men conforming to Muslim dress codes are welcome, promoting even further segregation. I think it's outrageous, says Bridget. What do you think? Yes, and this morning on the Big Phone In, we're discussing a big local story. It's all over the papers today. The Olympic-sized swimming pool in Luton has been criticised for introducing segregated men-only swimming sessions. The team who run the pool, they say the sessions were designed to cater for men who will not swim with women for cultural reasons or who are body conscious. However, posters for the event, published by the agency The Strong Believer, instruct swimmers that they must be covered from their navel to their knee. And the local man behind the idea, Abdul Ahmed, has welcomed the pool's decision on Facebook, telling followers, Alhamdulillah, swimming is back, starts this Friday, inshallah, which is the Arabic word for God willing. The question I'm asking is, do you think there's any problem with the Luton pool offering men-only swimming sessions? Gary in Hemel emails to say, I am appalled at the male-only swimming session. How is it that every other religion can fit in with society with no problem, and that they do not cause any upset, yet the Muslim religion cannot integrate and become one with everyone? The Muslim religion is about segregation, not integration, and it's not fit for our country's way of life. The male-only session is 100% a Muslim one, or it would not have restrictions around the dress code for non-Muslim men. The session needs to become a true male-only session, regardless of religion or the swimwear that you wear, and not have a minority group dictate on the rules and regulations that suit them and not the greater public. Saif in Luton, good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you doing?
Good morning, I'm very well indeed, thank you. What would you like to say?
Yeah, well, my point was I was listening to your show. I put it first, I didn't listen to the whole of the show, but I caught it from about 15 minutes before 10 o'clock. And you were saying there was no other faith groups who have had swimming.
I said I wasn't aware if there were any other, but I've never heard of it before, yeah.
Yeah, so, simple Google search. For example, in North London, there's been Jewish groups, Orthodox Jewish, who've had only boys-only swimming sessions, girls-only swimming sessions, and a particular dress code. I don't see a problem for that because you're opening and catering to a need of a particular community that might not be able to do it otherwise. And the other thing I wanted to point out...
I should just point out, we've also had a look into what you have managed to find on the internet, and that also seemed to cause quite a public outcry from other people who felt it was unacceptable.
But if you look at the innuendos and the kind of hysteria that's built up, for example, the Daily Mail said the small pool only for women. It's trying to build into this negative portrayal of Muslims being, wanting to stay isolated. I've known in this town of women having only swimming clubs, Muslim women. Now, wouldn't we want at a time when public health is a crucial time to open it up as much as we can? We're getting into real hysteria for 1 hour only a session a week. Now, the gentleman you spoke to, I believe his name was Abdul, he said that this is open to people of all faiths and none, that it's open to men, and if they, particular dress code, which, swimwear, likewise, the active Luton, I believe, have said it's okay. So I'm sure they've gone through their policy and procedures. And we're talking about equality and diversity. Is it not a good sense of equality and diversity that we can open
But
it
the
up?
fact you say it's good that it's good that it's open. It's always been open. It is Muslims, it would appear, who are self-segregating where this issue is concerned and preventing themselves from going, as it would appear many Muslim men don't want to go and swim with women.
No, but it's because they're of a particular faith, similar to the certain people from the Jewish community, similar to Sikh men and Hindu men. It is opening up and being tolerant of others who may think differently. As the gentleman put, 30, 40 years ago, halal chicken would have been hysteria. Now we have it all over the town, and predominantly the people who eat halal chicken from restaurants are non-Muslim, are white. And, it's not...
But hang on a minute. I mean, before we get onto halal, which I've discussed many times, and many people have huge problems with the fact that we have halal and kosher meat production in this country. There are lots of people who are eating halal meat who don't understand anything to do with it. They don't understand even what it means.
When they say it's Muslim, there will be a stereotype built into it. Similar to this, because the word Muslim, men, and then the hysteria has built up because it's a negative portrayal of a section of the community which is regurgitated over and over again by the national media. You see it on the news, you see it on the newspaper, read it in the newspapers, and it's
this group of Muslim men have made this the story. The media didn't go looking for this story. They have created this story by requesting an hour a week, which is, to be honest, largely for Muslim men.
But they're not created the hysteria. All they wanted was simply a group of men who want to go and swim, and they're feeling comfortable about it. Now, I myself, as a Muslim man, if there was a women-only session, I have no problem with it. If it was from a different religion...
As a Muslim man yourself, would you go and swim in a swimming pool when there are women there?
I have done in the past, but I would feel more comfortable especially when I've been on a holiday. But I would feel more uncomfortable if it was men only. But that's because...
Saif, I'm sorry to do this. I need to take the news. Can you stay there? I want to ask you why you'd feel more comfortable. I'm genuinely interested. Can you hang on?
Yes, no problem.
All right, I'll come back to you in just a minute. Saif called in the last half hour. We've been talking about this Luton swimming pool that's been criticised for introducing segregated men-only swimming sessions. I'm not going to pander to all this business of, oh no, it's not about Muslims. Of course it's not about Muslims. It's about people who've got body issues. I mean, it's nonsense. It's clearly, and it doesn't matter what Luton Borough Council happen to put out. The fact is, it is an event organised by Muslims, and it would appear it is largely for Muslim men in Luton. There is a dress code that is very specific. From the Facebook page where the Muslim men are discussing this swimming session, let me read you this. Brothers, swimming today. Changing rooms will be open from approximately 5:15 with access to the pool at 5:30 sharp. Please ensure you wear appropriate clothes to cover your awara. Awara is the Arabic word for private parts. Well, Saif in Luton, as I say, had called in. And Saif, I asked you just to hang on because I was interested to know, you said that you have swum in the swimming pool as a Muslim man. You have swum in a swimming pool with women before, but you would feel more comfortable being in a pool just with men. I genuinely am just interested to know why.
Well, the reason is, as I've grown older, I've been more conscious of my religion and its teachings, and it's encouraged that, particularly to this issue in itself, the swimming, is that we swim with other men and we wear a certain item of clothing which is appropriate to the rulings within Islam. Now, to the side point of that doesn't mean I look down on anyone else. I don't think I'm better than anyone else. I'm just more conscious of my faith and its teachings.
But I understand you talk about with the clothing, the attire that you would wear. But what is it specifically about not wanting to swim in a pool that women are swimming in at the same time?
Well, the simple answer to that is it's encouraged to swim with other men when you're an adult.
I was told earlier there's absolutely nothing in the Quran that talks about swimming.
No, but we look at the teachings of the Prophet, which is a part of the Quran, because in the Quran it says follow the example of the Prophet.
But now, so are you saying that there are part of the teaching is that you as a man should not get in a swimming pool with a woman?
No, I'm not. What I'm saying to you is we're talking about dress code here. The dress code says there's a particular dress code that we have when we are in public.
Yeah, no. I accept the dress code bit. I'm not asking you about the dress code bit. I'm interested to know why you, as a Muslim man, would feel more comfortable being in a swimming pool with men than with women.
Because one of the things is encouraged in our religion is not to have liaisons with others.
Liaisons? How does passing someone in the fast lane as you're going in the opposite direction swimming, how is that a liaison?
No, but this particular swimming is for men only because they feel comfortable. Now, if
you haven't answered my question, I'm asking you why you would feel more comfortable. Because I'll be honest with you, Seth, I don't care who. If I go to a swimming pool and if I'm swimming, it's for two reasons. Either it's boiling hot and I want to cool down, or I want to swim some lengths and I want to get my heart rate going and I want to do some exercise. I couldn't give a tuppenny whether the person swimming next to me is a man or a woman. I couldn't care less.
Yeah, and that's your prerogative.
But why do you care? You haven't explained why you care.
No, because I'm more conscious of my religion. I'm not some scholar. I'm just become more conscious of my religion.
But so you say, do you feel as if your religion dictates that you shouldn't really be in a swimming pool with women?
I feel that when we're doing certain activities, it is better for myself to swim where I'm more comfortable. And I feel I would personally, as someone who's become more conscious of my religion, feel more comfortable.
Do you think of swimming as being a kind of sexy thing then?
Now we're just opening up into other dynamics.
No, you said that as part of your religion, when you are doing certain things, it's better to be with your own sex than with the opposite sex. Now, that would seem to suggest that there is some kind of risk. You've already used the word liaison. There's some risk of a liaison in the swimming pool.
There is men and women, both Muslim and non-Muslim, who swim together. Right. I'm only speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for other people of Muslim faith. I, who someone has become more conscious of my religion, feel comfortable swimming with other men. Now, the clothing you've described is because they feel more comfortable, and it is part of the religion. We're not going to beat around the bush. But the person who has organized this hasn't said this is a Muslim men only. It may publicize within things, but it's open to others as well. And we all have rules and conditions that we follow, whatever group it is. And going back to my original point, there have been other groups who have done this, but I don't think the kind of the fury and the media hysteria would be the same with those groups as it is.
No, I'm afraid you're wrong, because as I said, you were referring to the Orthodox Jews in North London. We looked up, and that was also very widely criticised by the local communities there, and it was also in the local press there. So, this is just continuation building up towards. Look, let's go back. Let's go back to the issue. We all accept this is 2016. Yes.
Yeah.
We all accept that Great Britain is largely, either, depending on your point of view, a liberal secular country or a liberal Christian country, yes?
By whose definition?
Well, it just is, isn't it? I mean, it clearly is. It's certainly not. It's either secular. It's certainly not an Islamic country.
We're not. No one is saying it's an Islamic country.
Neither am I. I'm saying to you that Britain is largely a liberal secular or a liberal Christian country, depending on your point of view. It's 2016. It is a completely ordinary and normal thing to do in this country for men and women to swim together without any kind of shenanigans or liaisons, as you put it, going on. So isn't this just about compromise? Your religion needs to compromise. If you're saying it's your religion that's dictating to you, your religion needs to compromise with the ways and beliefs and the normalities of this country.
You can flip it in a different way. It's likewise you can compromise the other way. Now, if we had a school which has a predominantly of one faith, and they had a dietary needs or they had a clothing need, would we try to accommodate that within a reasonable term? The way it's been made out is like the swimming pool has been taken over. It's now Muslim men only, and that's it. It's 1 hour a week for men and to swim. It's nothing more, nothing less. We don't need to make it into something it isn't. It's simply Muslim men and other men swimming, wearing certain requirements in terms of clothing. I personally don't see a problem with that. If it was any other group, I wouldn't have a problem with that, nor would any other Muslim men. No, I don't think the majority of people, we just need to have a bit of, take a step back, have a bit of common sense. 1 hour in the week, no one is enforcing, themselves or other people throughout the week. They're saying if we can have this for this particular hour, then would you allow us? The center itself has allowed it. Obviously, the procedures and criteria that they have to meet to, allow the booking, and they've done it.
Okay. Saif, thank you very much indeed. I appreciate you hanging on to explain your feelings on this. I think we kind of got a sense of why you would feel uncomfortable. Tony says, JVS, it's 2016, not 1816, not in Luton. We are living in Victorian times. Come together, one life, one nation. It's a community pool for the community, not a section of the community. All sections, all of the time, says Tony. How do you think the NHS should help people who are overweight? The health watchdog NICE say overweight patients should be given £100 an hour therapy and gastric bands and bypasses costing anything from £5,000 to £10,000. They argue that whilst there is an initial cost involved in the longer term, we'll save money by preventing people becoming morbidly obese. Well, obesity costs the NHS more than £16 billion every year. And the current approach is that overweight patients can be referred by their GP to a variety of slimming classes, including Weight Watchers and Slimming World. These tend to cost around £100 for 12 weeks membership. But if people fail to lose weight, despite being members of these classes, the new thinking is that they should be sent for something more radical and inevitably more expensive. However, Mark Littlewood, the Director General of the Institute of Economic Affairs, has told journalists this is an absurd way to tackle obesity. The NHS is in dire straits financially, with vital cancer drugs and medications for serious genetic disorders being heavily rationed. Education on healthy lifestyles and a dollop of self-discipline is what's needed. Well, I'm interested to know from you, how do you think the NHS should help people who are overweight? And in just a moment, we'll speak to weight loss expert Steve Miller. First, though, Jonathan Isaby is Chief Executive of the Taxpayers Alliance. Hello to you, Jonathan. Thanks for coming on.
Good morning.
What do you think, then? What's the best way of the NHS using taxpayers' money to help obese people and people who are overweight?
Well, I agree with Mark Littlewood that at the end of the day, there needs to be a huge amount of self-discipline involved in this. And that may involve people actually spending a little of their own money on looking after themselves. I speak as someone who last year lost 8 stone by joining Slimming World. And yes, you pay kind of £4.95 a week to go to the class, but the incentive that you get by those weekly weigh-ins and the camaraderie of losing weight together and the education and information you get by following their advice has been life-changing for me, and it can be for other people, I think. And I think at the end of the day, if you invest your own money in something, you're far more likely to get a return out of it than if you see someone else, the state, spending other people's money on you.
But ultimately, there are lots of people who just will not use their own money for whatever reason, either because they don't have very much of it and they don't feel that they can justify spending what limited money they have on losing weight, or maybe some people just they're not motivated to want to spend their own money. Whereas if the doctor, if the NHS said to them, look, we'll give this to you for free, it might just help. And if it helps, it then reduces the cost to the taxpayer in the long run.
Well, I think things that are supposedly free are not free because someone has to pay for them, and that's the rest of us who are taxpayers. And I think the results you're likely to get are likely to be less impressive if you haven't invested your own money in it. And look, I mean, the NHS clearly and education systems should be there giving information in schools and so on about healthy eating and what a healthy lifestyle is all about. But at the end of the day, this should come down to people taking responsibility for themselves.
OK, good to talk to you, Jonathan. Thank you very much. Jonathan Isaby is Chief Executive of the Taxpayers Alliance. Steve Miller is a television weight loss expert. Hi, Steve.
Good morning to you. Are you all right?
Morning, sir. Yes, I'm very well indeed, thank you.
Good.
What do you think about this idea then? I mean, what is the best way of the NHS helping people to lose weight?
First of all, I am in total agreement with your previous contributor. I think it's right that we should own our body, that, you know, we are the person that's got ourselves in this state, i.e. fat. So we need to take personal responsibility to do something about it. The NHS, as we all know, is a bit crippled right now. The economy is contracting. Why should the taxpayer, the hard-working taxpayer, have to subsidise someone's irresponsibility? There is a however coming, though. The however is this. If a responsible GP is doing their job well, and they are with a patient, and that patient is trying their absolute best, and through the professional judgment of the GP believes, yes, this person's doing absolutely the best they can, but that patient would benefit from something like clinical hypnosis, which, as you know, I am an advocate of, then I think there is room for manoeuvre on that. But, and it's a big but, I would still expect the patient to contribute to the payment of that service.
But the problem is you're then only targeting the people who are self-motivated, and isn't the reality that if you are motivated to lose weight, you probably will lose weight?
Yeah, but I don't. Why should the taxpayer be spending money on people that are not motivated? The other thing, of course, Jonathan, I mean, common sense. Let's get some common sense here. If someone's not motivated, yet we're throwing loads of money at them, do we honestly believe that that's going to motivate them to lose weight?
No,
but
if, for example, part of this other suggestion today is that if somebody comes in and they are very fat, that the doctor should instantly send them off for gastric band surgery. So I guess then they don't have any choice, do they? Because even if they're not motivated, their body physically will not be able to get the food inside it.
Well, we have to look at the consequences of having a gastric band, which often we don't. And those consequences, as well as being physical, can be emotional and psychological. Because, you know, when you have a gastric band, what that means is you just can't eat very much. Now, that affects your psychological and mental health. If, for example, you know, imagine going to dinner parties and socialising with friends, going out with friends, you know, eating out, and you just can't eat because you've got this band tied so tightly around your tummy. And it creates all sorts of problems. So, you know, gastric banding is expensive. Gastric banding often can go terribly wrong. Gastric bands can potentially kill you when you're on the operating table. And I think what they don't do is deal with the core issue of why someone is too fat. And I'm afraid, you know, sometimes that is because people are too lazy. They're just too lazy. We create all of this psychobabble around why people are too fat. Sometimes I appreciate that is appropriate. But many times the reason people are too fat is because they're not thinking before they eat. They're not in the right mind. They're not getting themselves in the right mind state. And what they're not doing is eating enough fresh air.
But you see, the problem is if you just leave someone, if you put yourself in the position of a GP, you have a huge patient come in, you know, 20 stone patient who comes in because they've got sore throat. You as a GP, surely you look at that person, you think, well, okay, I'm gonna prescribe you some antibiotics, or I'm going to send you away and tell you to go and take paracetamol for your sore throat. But there is a bigger health issue sitting right in front of me, quite literally. And unless we can try and get control of that, unless we can try and do something to help you, in years' time, if it hasn't started already, you are going to start costing the NHS a lot of money, because when you get type 2 diabetes, when you have a stroke, when you have a heart attack, when you get a form of cancer that is directly attributed to your obesity, the cost of treating that is going to be vast. So surely that doctor has to do something, and the chances are whatever he decides to do or she decides to do, it's going to cost money.
And what the doctor should do is engage with that patient using a more direct approach than what they do at the moment, because they're too nervous and too soft with patients.
So what would you say? Dr. Steve, what would you say?
If I was a GP and someone was too fat, then I would be saying to them, right, number one, you're too fat. Number two, you're not taking personal responsibility to do something about it. Number three, chances are you'll probably be having a heart attack or a stroke within the next few years. It's your choice.
And when that person suddenly bursts into tears and starts saying that they began eating as a teenager because of some terrible event that happened to them, what then?
What I do then is I say to that patient, right, what you do now is 3 words. We have to get over it. And we together, and this is the key, I'm bullying people. This is the key. I then even put my arm around them and say to them, but there's something you and me are going to do about this. And together as a team, we are going to fix it. Let's agree the immediate action. And that doctor's role is also to keep that patient accountable. It's not the taxpayer's job to fund gastric bans.
But so if the doctor does what you've just said, they put the arm around the patient, they say, look, together we are going to deal with this. I'm going to help you. I'm your doctor. I'm going to help you.
Strongly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
strongly,
I'm your doctor.
yeah.
I'm going to help you. What's the help?
The help is that I agree actions with that patient. I agree how that patient will be accountable, so he will come back and see me occasionally, and we will agree the way forward together. If, however, to be fair, because I am a balanced guy, if I believe my professional judgment is that person through significant emotional issues, emotional eating issues or psychological issues, is struggling, then I may consider referring that patient on to somebody like a clinical hypnotherapist for treatment. But that patient would subsidise the treatment. Because if the patient isn't paying some towards it, I doubt very much the motivation will be there.
Steve, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Always straight talking is our Steve. Steve Miller is a television weight loss expert. Julia Milton Keynes has called to have her say. Hello, Julie.
Hello.
Hi, Julie. What are your thoughts then? What should the NHS do to help people lose weight?
Well, basically, if I give you my story, on the 21st of July, I had to go for a blood test because the amount of weight I'd put on. I went right up to 12 stone, when I was working, I used to be 9. And my cholesterol was 7.1.
Mm-hmm.
So she wanted to put me on statins. And I said, no, I'm not going on those. So she said, look, I'm going to give you 3 months to lose weight. I said, right, I will. Now, as soon as she said that, I used to go to Slimming World, and I started looking at my books. And within just over a week, I've lost half a stone.
In a week?
Yep. And that's
grief.
just changed. I haven't gone silly. I've just changed. For instance, I don't eat potatoes with meat and things like that. I've cut out chocolate. I've cut out cakes. And I'm determined to get down on my weight. I really am. But I'm eating well. I have a good breakfast.
Well, you can. If you're motivated to lose weight. Losing weight, if you're motivated to do it, is an enjoyable experience, and it's not anything awful. And you can still eat lots of things that maybe you thought you couldn't eat. You just have to eat a bit less of them, and you have to eat different versions of them.
Yeah, I feel so good.
But it's about getting yourself in that mindset, isn't it? It's about something triggering you off, because it's so easy. I mean, my weakness is beer and wine.
Yeah.
I blooming love beer and wine, and it's such a pain because you get into a habit of drinking a couple of pints, and automatically it then starts to build up and build up and build up.
Yeah.
And to then change that behaviour is difficult.
Well, at 74, it is difficult, but I want to live.
So your doctor giving you that kind of straight talking, look, here's a deadline. If you can lose weight in 3 months, I won't put you on the statins.
Yeah.
If you don't lose weight, then we're going to have to look at medically treating the situation you now find yourself in.
Yeah,
that has had the right effect on you.
Yeah, because I've had cancer a couple of times, which meant loads of medication.
Yeah.
It was the same thing with smoking. I used to smoke until I found out that I had COPD, and I didn't touch another cigarette.
Well, you see, you're obviously one of those people that kind of thing has a good effect on. But I've spoken to people before who, when they're told you're fat, you need to lose weight, they resort to eating more food and drinking more alcohol. And I've also spoken to people who have lung cancer and who smoke, and when they're told they've got lung cancer, they just smoke even more. It doesn't always work in the way that it's worked for you. Julie, thank you very much indeed for your call.